Hello, dear students. Welcome back to GDC. In today's video, we are going to discuss 360-degree All India Pharmacist and DI preparation for the subjects biochemistry. So, in this today's video, we are going to discuss important 20 MCQs for your preparation in all type of exams. It will cover your 360-degree of your pharmacy syllabus. Okay, let's start. So today we are going to discuss carbohydrate part 1. So the first question is which dash is the animal storage polysaccharide of main storage polysaccharide of animal cell. So these are the polysaccharides. So polysaccharides those which are made up of multiple monosaccharide and they are joined by glycosidic bonds. And these polysaccharides, and if you'll talk about, so the question is about animal. So you remember one is your starch, another is your glycogen. Starch is your storage form of polysaccharide in plant, and storage for polysaccharide in animal cell is glycogen. Okay, so the correct answer is glycogen. Okay, cellulose it is made up of plant cell. Dextran is used as a plasma volume expander. Option D is the correct answer. Next question. Sucrose is an example of. If you remember, we have discussed, so polysaccharides are basically, we are talking here about sucrose. So sucrose is a polysaccharide, monosaccharide, aldose, or disaccharide. Glucose, fructose, maltose, lactose. We have talked about these are reducing sugar. Similarly, in polysaccharide, we also talked about uh, many types. So polysaccharide, no, it is not a polysaccharide. Monosaccharide, no, it is not a monosaccharide. This is not a aldose. This is basically a disaccharide. Sucrose is what? Sucrose is a disaccharide. So please remember, sucrose is a, yes, reducing and non-reducing. Sucrose is a reducing. Okay, and it is sucrose is also called as invert sugar. Sugar is also called as invert sugar. Option D is the correct answer. Next question. The general formula of monosaccharide. So if you remember, we have clearly discussed that the monosaccharide are basically made up of three things: carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. And how many carbon, how many oxygen, and how many carbon, how many oxygen, and how many hydrogen we will discuss. So general formula is CnH2nOn. That means one carbon, two hydrogen, and one oxygen. Okay, the ratio will be 1:2:1. The general formula will be CnH2nOn. CnH2nOn. Option A is the correct answer. Okay. Next question. Carbohydrate have hydrogen to oxygen atom ratio. This question also asked several times in GPAT. So our formula is CnH2nOn. One carbon, two hydrogen, one oxygen. Hydrogen to oxygen atom ratio. That is 2:1. 2:1, yes. Option B is the correct answer. If the question is about carbon to hydrogen, then the answer will be 1:2. Okay. Option here in fourth question, option D is the correct answer. Next question. What is the basic chemical structure of carbohydrate? Okay. If you will see the basic structure of carbohydrate, we have initially, when I talked to you regarding carbohydrate, I told you that carbohydrates are basically made up of polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketone. So they are polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketone. Okay, this is made up of polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketone. What does it mean? It consisting of polyhydroxy, that means multiple OH group, either aldehyde or ketone. Along with that, it will contain either aldehyde functional group or ketone functional group. So the basic chemical structure of carbohydrate would be polyhydroxy alcohol with aldehyde or ketone and their derivative. Option B is the Correct answer. Amino acid with peptide bond? No. Okay, this is the structure of protein. Fatty acid with glycerol? This is the structure of lipids. Nucleic nucleotide with phosphate is the structure of nucleic acid. Okay, carbohydrate structure is polyhydroxyaldehyde and ketone. Next question. Which of the following best describe the role of carbohydrate in the body? Role of carbohydrate in the body. If you remember, the first thing that when we heard the word carbohydrate, one thing that come into our mind is energy. So carbohydrate is the major source for energy provider. It provides energy in the form of ATP. So ATP is basically utilized adenine triphosphate. It is basically utilized for the synthesis for the maintenance of, for the fulfill of the demand of energy in our body. So primary source of structural material, no. Major energy source, yes. Main component of cell membrane, no. Catalyst for biochemical reaction, no. Option B is the correct answer. So primary source of structural material, no. Catalyst for biochemical reaction, this is basically nothing but enzyme. Okay, main component of cell membrane is basically your lipids. Okay, main source of energy is your carbohydrate. Option B is the correct answer. Next question. What is the primary role of carbohydrate in the diet of organism? I told you what is the primary role. It provides energy. What it provides energy. Let's see the options. This is act as the main structural component of the cell membrane. It provides most abundant dietary source of energy, provides 4 calories per gram. Yes, absolutely correct. It is serves as the main source of essential amino acid. No. Primary involved in the detoxification process of the liver. No. Option B is the correct answer. Option A is also incorrect. What is the correct answer then? Option B. They are providing basically energy 4 calorie per gram. Many very important question. What is the amount of energy provided? You can remember this statement. 4 calorie per gram. Next question. In what form do carbohydrate primary stores energy to meet the immediate breakdown of the body? Okay, very important question. So the question is the carbohydrate, how it is storage in your body, if it is required in certain time period, it can be utilized. If you remember, so glucose, when excess glucose in your body, it basically undergo glycogenesis to form glycogen, and these glycogens are basically stored where? In liver. It is stored in the liver. Please note it down. Glucose undergo the process of glycogenesis, that means synthesis of glycogen to form glycogen, and this glycogen is stored inside the liver. The correct answer is option C, that is glycogen. Option C, glycogen. Next question. A pentose sugar is dihydroxyacetone, ribulose, erythrose, and glucose. Pentose. Pentose means N equal to 5. So formula will be C5H10O5. Okay, C5H10O5. Dihydroxyacetone. This is a what? This is a trice. It is a triose. Ribulose. Ribose and ribulose. They are what? They are your pentose sugar. Erythrose is tetrose. Glucose is hexose. So option B is the correct answer. Okay. Next question. A heteropolysaccharide among the following. Okay. So there is a formula. There is a mnemonics I have said you. The mnemonic is GDC is super. I told you this type of question can ask. G for glycogen, dextrin, cellulose, inulin, okay, then starch. So these are homopolysaccharide. Inulin is a homopolysaccharide, cellulose is a homopolysaccharide, Dextrin or dextran is a homopolysaccharide. But this heparin is a heteropolysaccharide. To remember this, what we can call, to remember this heteropolysaccharide, there is also one mnemonic. Okay, I want to share that mnemonic with you guys so that you could remember it. That mnemonic is king call his department head. King call is department head. K stands for keratin sulfate. Okay. C stands for chondroitin sulfate. H stands for heparin dormatan sulfate and 𝘖𝙬𝙎 5 enzyme. Okay, that is your king's call his department head. This is a simple mnemonics to remember what? To remember heteropolysaccharides. To remembering what? Heteropolysaccharides. I hope this is clear to all of you. Okay, now moving to the next question. The next question is two sugar which differ from each other around a single configuration, around a single carbon is termed as two sugar. Okay, two sugar differ from each other, differ from one another only around a configuration around a single carbon atom. Then what we are going to call it? Epimer, anomer, optical isomer, or stereoisomer. So anomer is nothing but this is the alpha and beta glucose, derivative of glucose. This is an anomer, and these alpha forms and beta forms are differ from each other at carbon number 1. If the hydrogen atom is at offside at above, then we call it as alpha carbon. It is below, then it is called as a beta carbon. Optical isomers means there are some derivatives of a compound which having a of what we can call stereoisomer, optical center or chiral center. If a compound have chiral center, then it will produce multiple optical isomer based upon the formula 2 to the power n. Not no stereoisomer is not epimer. So epimer means what? So these are the derivative of carbohydrate when they are differ from each other around a single carbon atom, then we call it as a epimer. Let's give you an example: glucose, galactose, mannose. So what you have to remember here? So you have to remember one thing that glucose and mannose are C2 epimer, glucose and galactose are C4 epimer, C2 epimer, C4 epimer. In exam question always ask. So please remember when two sugar differ from each other around a single carbon atom, then we call it as a epimers. Option A is the correct answer. Next question, sucrose. Sucrose is consisting of, so sucrose is a invert sugar. It is a disaccharide. It is consisting of glucose plus fructose. Okay. Option B. Glucose plus galactose is your lactose. Glucose plus glucose is your maltose. So please remember, option B is the correct answer. Alpha D glucose plus beta D fructose. Okay. Alpha D glucose plus beta D fructose. Option B is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following are a polysaccharide? Polysaccharides are the polymers. They are acids. They are proteins or they are oils. What are the polysaccharides? Acids? No. Proteins? No. Oil? No. These are basically nothing but polymers. They are the polymer of monosaccharides. So they are the polymers of monosaccharides. Okay, they are consisting of repeated unit of monosaccharide. Next question. Maltose is a disaccharide consisting of, just now I told you, glucose plus fructose, glucose plus galactose, glucose plus sucrose, yeah, glucose plus glucose. Yes, answer this question. Maltose, malt sugar. Malt sugar is produced when? It is produced when hydrolysis of starch. It is produced during hydrolysis of starch. So maltose is consisting of glucose plus glucose. Next question. Which of the following is a homopolysaccharide? Yes, remember the formula, mnemonic. So mnemonics is GDC is super glycogen, dextrin, inulin, uh, then starch and cellulose. So inulin. Inulin is comes under, yes, homopolysaccharide. Heparin is a hetero, chondroitin heteropolysaccharide, hyaluronic acid heteropolysaccharide. Okay, so this type of questions repeatedly asked in exam. Next question, which of the following is the smallest carbohydrate triose? Ribose, glucose, glyceraldehyde, fructose. Ribose, ribulose, deoxyribose, these are basically pentose. Glucose is a hexose. Fructose is also a hexose, but glyceraldehyde is a triose. So in triose class, you have two examples. In triose class, you have two examples. One is your aldose, that is aldehyde functional group. One is your ketose having ketone functional group. Aldehyde functional group example is aldose is your glyceraldehyde. Ketose functional group is dihydroxyacetone. Dihydroxyacetone. Okay. Next question. The polysaccharide used in accessing the glomerular filtration rate. The polysaccharide which is used in accessing the glomerular filtration rate is glycogen, agar, inulin, hyaluronic acid. Which of the following is used for assessment of GFR? The correct answer is yes. Option C. Very good. Option C is the correct answer. The inulin is used for the assessing the glomerular filtration rate. So one point I want to highlight here is this inulin. This is a polymer of fructose. It is a polymer of fructose. Please note it down. It is a polymer of fructose. So question, sometimes students are confused regarding how this inulin basically acts in our body to assessing the what? To assessing the glomerular filtration rate. So if I give you, first of all, this is a human. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to inject inulin. We have to inulin. So inulin is a polymer of fructose. So this is a derivative of fructose. It is basically non metabolizable. It does not degrade. So what in the amount of inulin you have to inject, it has to eliminate it to your kidney in the form of urine. Okay. If now if less amount of inulin, if less amount of inulin is excreted, that means you have less glomerular filtration rate. That means your kidney had been some problem. Your kidney has some problem, or you have a type of kidney disease. Okay, this is how we access the glomerular filtration rate with the help of inulin. And remember, it is a gold standard method. Okay, very very gold standard method. Okay, to accessing the kidney function. Next question. All of the following is a homopolysaccharide except. See, the question is basically rotating around this one single point. Homopolysaccharide, heteropolysaccharide, which is disaccharide, which is trisaccharide, which is monosaccharide. So the classification part of this homopolysaccharide, the monosaccharide, disaccharide, trisaccharide, and heteropolysaccharide, homopolysaccharide is very, very important. Okay. Starch, it is a homopolysaccharide. Glycogen, it is a homopolysaccharide. Cellulose, it is a homopolysaccharide. But this heparin, it is a heteropolysaccharide. All these three are homopolysaccharide. Next question. D fructose on simple reduction. Reduction. This is very, very, when aldehyde group is reduced, what will form? Aldehyde or ketone when reduced, it will form corresponding alcohol. What it will form? Corresponding alcohol. So when fructose reduce, it will form mannitol plus sorbitol. When mannose reduce, it will form mannitol. When glucose reduce, it will form sorbitol. Option C is the correct answer. Next question. Pentose sugar gives the test positive for bile inversion test, mucic acid test, fuel saturation test, या bile test. Pentose sugar. So pentose sugar is basically gives which test positive? Bile's test positive. Okay. This is for the detection of which this is essential pentosuria. It is used to the diagnosis of essential pentosuria. Bile test give this test positive. Okay, understood. So in this class we have discussed 20 important MCQs, which is cover your 360-degree of your biochemistry syllabus from all important exam point of view. Thank you so much. Stay connected with the GDC for more such content. Thank you so much.